Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my new video. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about all the latest stuff that's happening in and around the world, especially in Iran. But today, I'm also going to be talking about China. And the first topic I'm going to talk about is Trump. And I'm just talking about some of the language that Trump is using lately. And it's really concerning me that a sitting president can use this kind of language openly and get away with it. For example, he just done an interview, and I'm not going to play the interview because you probably can't hear it anyway. But it's written here. Trump says Iranians are sick people. They should not be allowed here. They are bad creatures, and it's in their genetics, which is different from ours. We see the kind of language he's using, the kind of racism he uses against Iranian people. This is the same guy who said a few months ago that he supports Iranian people. He wants them to rise up in Iran. He supports protesters. Well, guess what? The protesters are also Iranian. So here he says he's sick of Iranian people. He doesn't like them. They got bad genetics or something. A few days ago, he sent this tweet out. And in this tweet, he says, it's an honor to kill Iranians. That's what he's saying. He says, US is winning, and it's a great honor to kill Iranians. That's the kind of language he's using. I mean, I have never ever seen a sitting president use this kind of language, even in war times. I have never seen Truman or Ronald Reagan in the height of the Cold War, Truman using this kind of language, or all the sitting presidents using this kind of language. And America has been in a lot of wars, and he just gets away with it. This is just so blatantly racist. This is insulting the whole country, and he wants this country to rise up. I mean, it's the kind of language you use to Iranian people if you want them to rise up against the government. It's crazy, guys. When I first started doing my YouTube channels, I started because of Trump, because of his racism. He was so racist towards the Chinese at the time, and he was calling COVID, he was calling it Wuhan virus and Kung flu and all these like really bad racist terms. And what that caused a lot of violent racial attacks against Chinese or anyone who looks like Chinese all around the world. And my friend is Chinese, actually. One of my best friends is Chinese. And he literally got beaten up in the streets, guys. He got beaten up so badly, he got put into a coma. I'm not joking. He was in a coma for 2 years. He was in a coma for. He's out now, luckily, but he was in a coma for a very very long time, and he's still not recovered fully yet. He's basically in a wheelchair. He's basically they've turned him into a vegetable. He needs a lot of looking after. That's how badly they beat him up, the white racists in this country, all because of Trump. But there was a lot of you know attacks against Asian people. Not really, people weren't attacking Chinese. They were attacking anyone that looks Asian. It doesn't matter if you're Korean, Japanese, Malaysian. If you look in Asian at all, you get attacked. That's how much his words affect, low IQ people around the world. And he targets the race. He doesn't target, if he's got an issue with the government or the leader of a government, you know, then you say so. But don't target the whole country or a set of race or a whole race. That is what Trump does and what he does best. Complete racism, and he gets away with it, guys. He gets away with it. These people that give him Fox News and all these know, news agents, even Western papers, they don't say anything about it. They're completely quiet because this is not just about Trump. This is about white supremacy, white imperialism, white colonialism, white power. They feel that white people can say these kind of things and get away with it. Imagine if, and if an Iranian said something like, something remotely bad about Americans or blacks or even the Jewish people community. If anyone says anything about the Jewish community, what happens to them? They get absolutely slaughtered, get put into prison. You can say anything about anyone, but if you say anything about Jewish people, absolutely, the whole world will come down on you. Media will come down on you. The police will come down on you. You'll be sent to prison for a very long time. But Trump can say whatever he wants about other races. How is that fair? Imagine if Trump said something about the Jewish people, something bad. What do you think will happen to him? His presidency will end immediately. They will call him anti-Semitic. They will take him down immediately. So he hasn't got the guts to say anything about Jewish people. But he's okay to say whatever he wants about other people, other races, other countries. He's absolutely, it's absolutely barbaric, guys. Absolutely barbaric. You know, the world should not see or put up with any kind of this kind of behavior from anyone, especially from a sitting president. It's crazy we are seeing this in our lifetimes. Absolutely, guys. So let's talk about the next story. So this is a fun, this is a funny story. I'm just laughing at this meme. So he sent a tweet out saying he's winning the war and he's beating the Iranians. And then he said something along the lines of, "Oh, I need some help. Can British, the French, can China help come send your ships and open the Strait of Hormuz for me?" He's basically asking for help from other countries, especially China. I mean, does he even know that China has got, access through the Strait of Hormuz? They have no problem with the strait. Chinese ships are given access to go back and forth. So China doesn't have an issue here. So has anyone told him that, China's got free access through the Hormuz Strait? And why should China come and help this guy? Why should any of his allies come and help this guy? A few months ago, he was placing tariffs on all his best allies. He's saying he doesn't need anyone. He says America doesn't need anyone. These countries were stealing from us. He's talking about his allies in Europe and everything. And suddenly now he wants their help. But luckily, these European countries, they're not helping. I think the French have sent a ship or something, but they are quite far away, to be honest. They're not actively helping the Americans. Um, the Japanese, basically, the Japanese Prime Minister gave Trump a thumbs up, saying what he's doing is right. As a result, the Iranians blew up a Japanese tanker on the strait. That was yesterday. It was so funny. So there goes the Japanese diplomacy. And guess what? Apart from India, Japan is the next country that will collapse if they don't have any energy coming from the Middle East. Because Japan needs a lot of energy as well. They are the third or fourth biggest economy in the world. They haven't got any oil fields or gas fields, so they are dependent on energy from the Middle East. So Japan and India are in serious, serious trouble. And And yeah, I just find it so funny that Trump is basically asking his allies to come in, send their ships, and he wants their ships to be blown up. So he wants these French ships and Japanese ships and British ships to go in the Hormuz Strait, and he wants them to be blown up. He doesn't want any American ships to be blown up. He wants his ally ships to be blown up. So luckily they've seen through it and they haven't really accepted Trump's invitation. But imagine this, guys. On one sentence, he says he's winning. Iran has got no navy, apparently. He's destroyed it all. He has destroyed Iran. He said Then why does he need help then? He's destroyed Iran. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. No, it's absolutely it's beyond parody, guys. This is like watching it's like watching a parody show or something, a sketch in the 1980s or 90s. But this is real. This is real life. I can't believe it. There used to be a show in Britain called Yes, Prime Minister, and they used to make a joke out of all. There used to be a really ridiculously idiotic prime minister in Yes, Prime Minister, and they used to make fun out of him in a TV show. Anyway, I digress, guys. I digress. There was another film, I believe. It's called Idiocracy. I don't know if you guys have seen it. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's almost like what they made in that film is happening in real life at the moment. Anyway, I digress, guys. So Iran had said something very clever today. They said they might allow ships to go through if ships are paid in Chinese yuan. So Iran is actively trying to destroy the dollar, and they want the dollar not to be um, basically the reserve currency. They want the Chinese yuan to be the reserve currency. And this is quite clever, first of all. So, firstly, all the Gulf countries that deal with dollars, they will be forced to start using the Chinese yuan more, and same with other countries as well. So rather than just trading with dollars, they have separate currency they can trade with, and that would make the Chinese yuan stronger and the dollar much weaker. And it's quite clever what they're trying to do. I think Iran is trying to de-dollarize because they are under heavy sanctions. They cannot use the dollar, you see. So if the world starts using the Chinese yuan as a reserve currency, this will make Iran much more powerful because they deal with the Chinese yuan, and also they deal with the Russian ruble. So if the yuan and the ruble gets stronger, that makes Iran stronger because those are Iran's main foreign currencies that they use. So it's really, really good tactics by Iran, I believe. So I don't know if you heard that Trump is coming to China at the end of March, and this is not really that far away. It's only a few weeks away. My opinion, guys. This is my opinion, by the way. I'm not obviously I'm not quoting anyone or anything like that. This is my own. I don't think China should allow him to come to China at this point because this guy is openly, you know, he's openly fighting wars all over the world against China's, allies. First, it started with Venezuela. Now he's going to go after Cuba. Now he's also going to go after Iran, where he's already going after Iran. And he's going after all of China's allies who provide oil to China. So these wars are, obviously there's also the Russian-Ukraine war going on. So all of these wars that's happening is all based because of energy. The long-term goal is they want to choke China. They want to strangle China. They want to control all the energy. So when it's when it comes time for them to have a war with China, they want to block all that access China has to oil and gas. So they want to block the Hormuz Strait to China. They want to obviously they've already blocked Venezuelan oil. Um, their goal to block Russia is failing. So obviously it's not going to work, guys. But you can see what they're trying to do. China knows this. I believe they do know that Trump is basically all of this stuff that Trump is doing is because of China. And this is why I don't think China should entertain him. I don't think they should invite him. And I believe Rubio is also sanctioned as well in China. And I don't think they should invite Rubio either, because when someone is sanctioned from China, I think that should be it. You should never be allowed in China ever again. You shouldn't have any sorts of dealings. And that should be a lesson to any American politician who tries to be clever by being anti-Chinese, if they get sanctioned by China, that should be it. They should never ever set foot in China ever again. If they try and be clever and be anti-Chinese and make up all these stories. So Rubio shouldn't be invited. Um, Trump, I think he wants to go to China to basically dangle the Taiwan card against China. Because you can look at this article here. He says new US weapons for Taiwan could be approved after Trump's China trip. So this tells me that Trump wants to go to China and use this as some sort of carrot to make a deal with China. And I think China should immediately reject anything, you know, Trump throws at China regarding, the island of Taiwan. I don't think they should even entertain it. It should be a complete red line. There shouldn't be any deals. There shouldn't be any negotiation with Taiwan. There shouldn't be. He shouldn't even mention it in his breath. One mention, and that's it. They should just end the negotiations and just kick him out. That is if he gets invited. I don't think he should be invited, to be honest. I don't think Trump. I don't think Trump is invited. I think Trump is going there as as the sitting president. I think he wants to go there, and I think he wants to go there for PR purposes as well. So he wants to come back to the United States for PR for the markets, and he wants to say that, oh, I've made some great deals with China. Blah blah blah. They're gonna buy this. They're gonna buy Boeing aircraft. They're gonna buy all these wheat and soybeans. I've made some great deals. They're gonna give us trillions and trillions of dollars. That's what he's gonna say, guys. And it's like clockwork. He does it all the time. And these deals are just fake. Remember when he went to Saudi Arabia and Qatar, and he came back and said, "Oh, I got trillions and trillions of deals worth of deals." Well, so where's the trillions and trillions worth of dollars? Where and how are they going to give you the money when you start a war in the Middle East? Where they're going to get the money from when you are absolutely destroying the economy, starting a war in the Middle East? So yeah, you know, tr- and another reason they should invite Trump, because Trump has been extremely hostile in his first term. He's been extremely hostile to the Chinese people, the Chinese government, and most of you will remember the kind of hostilities that Trump did against China in his first term. It wasn't just the racial terms he was saying. He banned Huawei. He tried to destroy Huawei as a company. He was getting other allies to ban Huawei. He was calling all these countries to ban Huawei. He was calling Britain and Australia and all these countries, India even, and he kidnapped Meng Wanzhou. He did a lot of stuff in his first term, which was anti-Chinese. He banned semiconductors. He did a lot, guys. He did a lot. And he was even sailing ships in the Taiwan Strait as well. And there was a time when nearly, I think China and USA nearly came to a war. It was so close at the time. I remember because the tensions got so bad, they nearly started a war. And you can see, like, the general that worked for Trump at the time, he released some sort of autobiography or a memo. I can't remember exactly. And he said that Trump nearly started a war with China, and he had to basically call China, calm things down. Um, Basically, he had to basically go out of his way and talk to his counterpart in China to say, look, Trump doesn't mean this, Trump doesn't mean that. Let's try and stay friendly. And he had to do that behind Trump's back. That's why his autobiography was saying, because things were so heated between China and America at the time. So this is why I don't think China should entertain him. But I know the Chinese government. I know they will not refuse him if somebody wants to go to China and they want to meet with the Chinese government president. They'll probably want to hear what they have to say, because because reality is they'll probably accept. They'll probably accept the invitation. They'll probably let him in anyway. I don't think they should, but reality is they probably will. And if they do, I don't think they should do any parade for him. I don't think they should do any sort of, I don't think they should go out of the way, do some, parades and things like that, meet him in the airport or something. I think they should treat him like you know, um, every other person, like von der Leyen, for example. And I don't think they should give him much time to talk. I don't think they should, you know, Trump is the kind of guy, I think he will probably, if he goes to China, he'll probably insult a lot of people in China because he's that kind of guy. He will say things that will really insult a lot of Chinese. I think that's what's going to happen probably. And I think any meeting between Trump and President Xi should be very, very short. You shouldn't last more than, half an hour, let's just say. But yeah, that's my thoughts, guys. I don't think he should go. I don't think I think China should reject his application. But the reality is, he probably will go, and but I don't think China should go out their way to entertain the guy. I think they should keep things short, and they should keep things like casual, short, professional, and just have a chat. 30 minutes. That's it. Finish on your way. I think it should be like that. And when Trump comes back, you can watch him lie. He will probably say things like, "I have got trillions worth of deals from China. We have given them nothing. They gave us everything. They're going to give us trillions. We're not going to give them a penny." All this exaggerated lies is just going to make up. I can guarantee it. Anyway, guys, I've got one more story. So this story about Americans are asked to leave Iraq immediately because there's been some attacks on American bases, American embassy, and today they released a statement for all Americans to leave Iraq. All the military, all the embassy staff, and the reasons they asked them to leave is because of this video. This video is basically you can see an FPV drone footage in an American base in Iraq, and you can see that it's just flying. Nobody's there to stop this drone. They cannot stop it. They don't have any air defenses, and this drone is just flying around the base, gathering intelligence, and it's got an onboard camera. Looks for any juicy targets, and when he finds any juicy targets, he attacks it. And there's some juicy targets near the end. I think he flies around for at least 2 minutes. He flies around for, and then he finds this. He finds a big juicy target, and then he attacks it. You can see there, right at the door. So because of this footage, America has got no defense against these drones. These drones are causing havoc in the Russian-Ukraine war. Russia and Ukraine absolutely destroying each other with drones. And this is something the Americans have not been fighting with. They have not been fighting with FPV drones. They are not equipped. They are not ready. And this is why they're just packing their bags and leaving. They're all leaving Iraq. And pretty soon they're going to be leaving every single Gulf country. I think Iraq is first, and then probably Bahrain, and then they'll probably leave UAE next, then Qatar. I'm not sure about Saudi Arabia yet. We'll have to wait and see. But let's see. Let's wait and see for now. Anyway, guys, that's it for today. I'll see you in the next video. Take care for now. Bye bye.